You live in a world that's obsessed with noise. Your phone is always buzzing. People around you are always talking. Silence feels uncomfortable, even threatening. But here's the thing. If you find genuine peace in total silence, you're experiencing something most people don't understand. You're not broken. You're not antisocial. You're rare. Your mind works differently, and there's actual science behind why silence feels like home to you instead of emptiness. In this video, we're going to explore what psychology reveals about people like you who find their deepest peace when the world goes quiet. In this video, we're exploring 5 rare traits of people who find peace in total silence. If you've ever been called too quiet, felt drained around constant conversation, or been told you're weird for preferring solitude, this is for you. These aren't character flaws. They're markers of a unique neurological wiring that actually comes with significant strengths. By the end of this, you'll understand what's really happening in your mind and why your need for silence isn't something to fix, it's something to honor. Here's what's happening in your brain. People who find peace in silence typically have a nervous system that becomes overstimulated by continuous auditory input. Your brain is actually working harder in noisy environments because it's filtering, analyzing, and processing every sound. When you're in silence, your mind finally relaxes. This might show up as you being the person who notices details others miss, the shift in someone's tone, the unspoken tension in a room, the small changes in your environment. You might find yourself preferring to listen in conversations rather than fill the space with words, and this often gets misinterpreted as disinterest when it's actually the opposite. You're deeply engaged. You're just doing it through observation. Psychology calls this trait introverted listening, and research shows that deep listeners actually have stronger emotional intelligence than constant talkers. Your silence isn't avoidance. It's active engagement with the world around you. People who find peace in silence are collecting information, understanding context, and building genuine awareness of their surroundings. This is a profound strength that most people never develop because they're too busy filling the space with their own voice. What's happening here is that your brain has learned to use silence as a self-regulation tool. When you're surrounded by noise, your nervous system is constantly activated. Your amygdala, the part of your brain that processes threats and emotions, never gets to fully relax. Silence gives your nervous system permission to downshift from its alert state back to a baseline of calm. This might show up as you needing alone time after social events, or finding that a few hours of silence can completely shift your mood from anxious to grounded. You might find yourself seeking quiet spaces instinctively when you're stressed, and you've probably noticed that forcing yourself to stay in noisy environments actually makes your anxiety worse, not better. This isn't weakness. This is your nervous system being more sensitive to stimulation, which means you're also more capable of noticing and managing your emotional states. Neuroscience calls this sensory processing sensitivity, and it's linked to higher empathy and deeper emotional awareness. Your body knows what it needs to regulate itself. When you honor that need for silence, you're actually practicing one of the most advanced forms of emotional self-care that exists. You're not running away from life. You're maintaining your ability to be present when you do engage. Here's what's occurring. Your brain has limited cognitive resources. When there's background noise, part of your attention is automatically allocated to processing that auditory information, even if you're not consciously aware of it. This leaves less mental bandwidth for deep thinking, problem-solving, and creative work. In silence, all of your cognitive resources become available for actual thinking. This might show up as you needing quiet to work through decisions, solve problems, or create anything meaningful. You might find yourself frustrated in open office environments or group brainstorming sessions because you're not actually thinking, you're just reacting. But when you sit down in silence for an hour, suddenly you have answers. Solutions emerge. Clarity comes. You might have been told you're not a team player because you can't think on your feet the way others do, but the truth is, you're a deep thinker, not a quick reactor. Psychology recognizes this as internal processing, and studies show it's linked to higher IQ and creative problem-solving ability. Your silence isn't avoidance of collaboration, it's how your mind does its best work. When you protect your quiet time for thinking, you're not being antisocial, you're being strategic about your mental performance. What's happening is that social interaction, especially in noisy or stimulating environments, genuinely consumes more of your mental and emotional resources than it does for other people. This isn't laziness or unsociability. Your brain is actually working harder during social engagement because you're doing more processing and less autopilot functioning. This might show up as you having a smaller circle of people you truly connect with, rather than many casual acquaintances. You might find that after social events, you absolutely need time alone to recharge, and this recharge time is non-negotiable for your well-being. You might have been made to feel guilty for not wanting to go to every party, or for leaving events early, but here's the truth. You're protecting something essential. Psychology calls this the concept of introversion paired with high sensitivity, and it's not a limitation. It's an indicator of how intentional and selective you are about where your energy goes. This means your relationships are typically deeper and more meaningful because you're only investing in connections that truly matter to you. Your silence and solitude aren't rejection of others. They're how you maintain your capacity to show up authentically when you do connect. Here's the neuroscience. People who find peace in silence tend to have higher levels of brain activity in their default mode network, the system responsible for imagination, memory processing, and self-reflection. While others might need external stimulation to feel engaged, you have an entire universe happening inside your mind. This might show up as you having vivid inner experiences, strong imagination, and a tendency to get lost in thought. You might find yourself overthinking, yes, but you also daydream in ways that are genuinely creative and insightful. You might prefer reading, writing, or creating alone to any external activity because your internal experience is already rich enough. You might have been told you're in your own world or disconnected from reality, but the truth is, you reconnected to a reality that's just as real as the external one. It's just happening inside your mind. This capacity for internal experience is linked to creativity, self-awareness, and philosophical thinking. Your silence allows this inner world to flourish. This isn't escapism, it's access to a depth of experience that many people spend their entire lives searching for. Your rich inner life is one of your greatest assets, and silence is the environment where it thrives most fully. If you've ever been called too quiet, felt misunderstood for needing silence, or wondered if something was wrong with you for preferring solitude, now you understand. There's nothing wrong with you. You're experiencing the world through a different neurological lens, and that lens comes with genuine strengths, deeper thinking, stronger emotional awareness, richer internal experiences, and the ability to regulate your own nervous system. The truth is that silence isn't empty. It's full. It's where your real power lives. You're not broken. You're rare. If this resonated with you, subscribe for psychology insights that explain who you really are. You deserve to understand yourself, and you deserve to honor what your mind and body actually need.